So I really want to break down the late game stuff here. I wasn't expecting to see any late game stuff for a while, but let's go ahead and jump into it and see if we can't figure some things out. So I just want to make another comment that I absolutely love the way the game looks at night. Like, this looks so cool. The buildings lighting up. This looks really great. I think it looks awesome. So I think we're getting into the industrial era. And you'll start to notice things like that. Love that the buildings still kind of sprawl out, kind of the smaller buildings. I know that obviously this is still the main city palace area, but like that they're still sprawling out. One reason why I wanted to discuss this part in the video is there's just so much information, and I'm not even going to be able to grasp it all. I mean, I'm not an expert at any of this. I'm just kind of giving my own opinion from a person that plays Civ 5 probably way too much. Anyways, we've got more buildings, more wonders. The granary still hasn't been built. I'm wondering if that is due to just the demo. You know, they don't want to build the granary. Let me see if I can't find some of the stuff. Terracotta Army is back. We've got the Venetian Arsenal. Is that what that says? It is. What could that be? I do not know. We've already seen the Stonehenge, the Oracle. Don't know how to pronounce that temple name, and I don't want to because that would probably go disastrously. Hanging Gardens. We've got Colossus back. This, yes. I don't want to pronounce this one either, but Extra Faith, 2+ Great People, and I'll let everyone else kind of check what that stuff is going to give you because I want to jump into this a little bit faster. So, more districts. Oh my gosh, Drew. More districts that we've just figured out. We've got Campus, Holy Site, we knew about that, Theater, and Industry. New one is Aqueduct. So the Aqueduct is going to be an additional district. Again, I'm trying to discover the 12 because I know there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out all 12. And we know one which is late game that I'm going to talk about is the Science District, the Spaceship District. Fresh water from an aqueduct adjacent to a river. So it looks like it's going to have to be adjacent to a river. Or lake or oasis or mountain, interesting, to your city, boosting its potential population. Okay, so it's no longer going to be just a building. Again, not entirely sure about what buildings. There are going to be obviously 3 types of buildings in each district. This looks like it might be oil or coal. Maybe this probably looks a little bit more like coal. We've got a citadel here in the top left. Might be a good defensive building. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the previous video, is that Egypt built a encampment 2 tiles away. So I wonder how far that encampment can fire upon, or if it would even be able to fire directly upon the city. I don't think it would. That doesn't seem right, but we'll look into that. So we're gonna see tile improvements. Okay, so those are both just coal resources. What do we see over here? I think this is still a lumber mill. This might be a farm, but I might just sound really dumb right now because that might not be. We still have the holy site from over this way. Okay. And okay, that looks like it's oil. Yes. Okay. So we've got confirmation on what the coal and oil resources look like. I don't think we get to see uranium in this demo. I'm sure not. Seems like it'd be one of those things that you kind of keep until the last second, but you know, we'll see. Giza, the capital of Egypt. Rumor has it that Egypt has declared war on China. Why would that be a rumor, though? Because isn't it already happened? There it goes. Okay, so we've got cavalry units and 2 musketmen from Egypt. Don't get to see... I mean, I'm guessing Cleopatra probably has early game bonuses, since she's kind of an older civ. And they're going to roll through here. Also, notice that these units do not have any promotions. So, cavalry units and musketmen, which I'm guessing are going to leave the fight for some reason. So each district is going to get 3 levels of... You have to pillage each district 3 times if it has all 3 of the buildings on top of it, which makes this huge. I really don't think that we as Civ players are starting to realize the massive impact that this is going to have on the game. This is going to have a huge impact because everything is out there. And whether we can look at it from the offensive point of view or the defensive point of view, whatever it might be, if we're trying to go for an offensive war, what do you decide? Do you decide to just sit here for 3 tiles or for 3 turns and pillage this tile and really hurt them, or do you just try to rush in after the city? I guess it really depends on how powerful that other civ is. And then if you're the defender, do you Do you leave the city? Do you focus on protecting your tiles, or do you focus on protecting your city itself? Do you take the risk and say no, don't mess up my buildings? Another thing I want to know is if these pillages, before in Civ 5 you just get a worker to improve them and it takes 2 or 3 turns. Do you have to rebuild these buildings on top of the district? Or do you need a builder to improve it? Is it built instantly again? It makes sense to me that you might have to do something inside of the city production screen. Since the builders are building things instantly now, it makes a little bit more sense, but at the same time, maybe that's a little bit too much power. Maybe you do need a builder, and each builder, they need to use up, that takes up an action point of improving just one building on a tile. So these are going to be some interesting questions that we will get revealed to us with the coming weeks. So here's an example of the encampments. So now the encampments, like I said, before, they now can spawn units themselves. It looks like we've got a modern infantry unit, or just infantry in general. So these guys should be able to kick some butt here. I'm thinking so. Let's see. They've got a strength of 70, melee strength of 70. Movement 1.25. That is interesting. Wait a second. Look at that. Infantry units at least can cross a river to an extent and still attack. The river might have ate up 1.25 instead of just one movement. Interesting. And does this apply to every unit or just the infantry? It might just, I think it would just apply to more later game units. I mean, that's what I'm reading from this here. I could be totally off, but that's what I'm assuming. So we might be able to attack across rivers without getting that loss of a movement point. And obviously the infantry is going to dominate here. We've got a tank with 7 promotions, and I don't believe we're going to see any combat. Oh, yes, we will. So the tank can move 4 tiles. Got a melee strength of 80. Looks like the tanks are going to be a little bit stronger now that the infantry. I felt like tanks in Civ 5 were not the best. I rarely built tanks. So I'm also wondering. I'm sure it's going to require resources. Too bad that too bad it doesn't show us what kind of resources it might provide, or I'm sorry, what might require. I'm assuming oil, but we'll have to wait and see there. Okay, so now we're going to see the actual siege of a city, which I think is really cool. Do we see anything else here? Looks like there might be a citadel. Might be a citadel or just a castle in general. Looks like an interesting defensive building, obviously. This might be a Gatling gun. Really, oh god, I'm just hoping the Gatling guns are more effective than before. Actually, this might not be a Gatling gun. This looks like this is a cannon unit, actually. But even if Gatling guns are still there, I'm hoping they're more effective. Another interesting tile here. Not sure what that is, though. So we'll have to look into that a little bit later. Something that I do believe, this is, again, take this with a grain of salt, but I believe that the color coordination of each district will match the civ that you're playing. So you'll see lots of yellows and maybe these purples as Egypt. Like I know that when playing as Japan, you see the same thing. You see that kind of red and white. I think that's a really cool. Oh, is this a battleship? That is a battleship that I have not noticed until now. Awesome. And you know what? That was probably built, I believe the Chinese capital had a harbor built, which, like I said before, now that the cities can build ships without having to be coastal, I mean, that would be really useful. This is interesting because we're going to see fighters, or I'm guessing bombers, attack districts. That's so cool. Strategic bombing. Would have never guessed that was going to be a thing. But I never even knew that I wanted this so bad. Like, that's so cool. We also have an artillery unit here. Because this, you know what, look at this. This is kind of interesting. Because that artillery unit is only 2 tiles away from the city, that makes me think that artillery units can no longer fire from 3 tiles away, which would be absolutely massive because artillery is so OP, ridiculously OP at the moment. That's just my strategy. You rush artillery and then you go nuts. But because it's 2 tiles away, maybe that's a sign. Maybe it's just bad placement, or maybe they just wanted to show off the artillery, but which it probably is likely. It makes sense that artillery can fire that far away, but nonetheless, it's there, and maybe it's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Maybe I am right because he just fired on. I mean, this is the artillery icon, but it doesn't mean that he is an artillery unit, so we don't know exactly. But he did just fire upon a unit that was right next to him. I don't know. It's confusing. It's all so confusing, but it's just kind of questions we should ask ourselves. Boom. So they walked into the city with a tank. Good to know that tanks can still take cities. And then we're gonna see Egypt's death monologue, which is definitely going to be something that's on my priority list. First thing I do is find all the death monologues of each civ. Okay, so city name Giza. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Look, we now have an interesting window showing us population, showing us the number of districts. You have a one-time option to raise a city on the turn you conquer it. So raising capitals is now a thing. Another question that a lot of people were asking is, can you no longer puppet capitals? We're only seeing 3 options here. However, it looks like there might be room for a third option. Maybe only specific things, only specific settlements or cities can be puppeted. But yes, raising a capital is now going to be an interesting option, since that was her capital and she did die because we saw her death screen. So that's really new. Kind of like that. Okay, so tile improvements. We did see those tiles become improved. We just don't know how that happened. So again, yeah, we're gonna see everything kind of improve as time goes by. Looks like Big Ben is here, so that might be a new wonder. That definitely looks like Big Ben to me. We've got an airport off here to the right, which is really cool. I completely forgot about the airports. So I'm guessing that is going to be where you manufacture your planes and such, which is pretty cool. I love the way it looks. I love the late game look of these buildings. It looks so cool. Okay, so amenities, they're still in the negative, so it must not be that bad that these numbers are red. And it does also look like the housing, they're going over their housing capacity, which is interesting. 13 buildings, so it's showing us the buildings that are built inside of the city square or palace or whatever you want to call it. He's making a considerable amount of science and production, obviously late game. Again, we don't know. I don't believe. We don't know what turn he's on. It's probably below this icon here. But I'm gonna press play. Also, take note that we can see all the leaders in the top right as well. So more wonders. Colossus Eiffel Tower, which is what he's gonna build. This is one of the things that I didn't get to check in on before. Faith, great profit per turn. Grants 2 apostles, which I tried to ask the devs what the apostles are. We don't know yet, but they'll be revealing these things as time goes by. Also, pretty sure you cannot build a warrior unit this late in the game. This is probably due to the demo. I'm pretty sure, because I don't think we're going to be able to have access to a warrior unit at the time that we're also building Big Ben and planes and such things like that. I think we've already looked at other things, but let's check out the Eiffel Tower. All tiles in your civilization gain 2 appeal. Interesting. Must be built on flat land adjacent to the city center. And it looks like that, more than likely, Big Ben, if that is Big Ben, will have that requirement as well. Awesome. I love it. It looks beautiful with, your city. We can see the harbor right there, showing an example of, again, building the ships from an inland city, which is super cool. Also, there might be an oil refinery up there that I see. There's a better look at it. So possibly an oil refinery. Watching the stream, I noticed that they were mentioning that, they aren't revealing the turn exactly. So there's just a question mark here. Interesting. Those sneaky developers. Sneaky. Nice little island up this way. Mount Saint Michael. I'm gonna get so much comments about how my pronunciation is so horrible. I'm sorry. Even more luxury resources. So this might fill up this toolbar. Luxury and strategic. I can't tell if any of those are specifically uranium. Again, I don't think they would show off uranium. I really don't. But I mean, if maybe we'd catch them. So these are the districts that we know of so far. Again, there are 12. A lot of people are trying to figure them out. We've got 7. We've got 7 confirmed. So we've got the aqueduct, and the spaceport is going to be the final one that we've learned of. Let's make sure that we kind of figure out the tooltip here, or read the tooltip. A district that enables construction of city projects leading to the science victory cannot be built on hills. A district that enables construction of city projects leading to the science victory. So it looks like you need to build the spaceport, which makes a lot of sense. But, you know, there were some buildings that you didn't have to build in Civ 5 to achieve a science victory. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, that you will have to build that district for a science victory. And obviously, a science victory has been confirmed. It looks really cool, though. And I'm also assuming that you need to build all 3 buildings on top of this district, since that is kind of the theme of districts in general. So we'll have to see some of the requirements for achieving a science victory in Civ 6. It will be definitely pretty interesting. Here's the outro movie. But anyways, that was kind of my run through of late game. Really, probably a lot more information there that you guys will find out that I didn't. But I definitely suggest that you guys leave that stuff in the comment section below. Some of the things that I didn't notice, you know, you could put a timestamp on it, letting people know, oh, look at this. Did you see this? Did you see this? And we can all learn together. But I think I'm really excited for Civ 6. It looks beautiful. I really like the way it looks, and I really love the way that it seems like with time, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, the graphics are really growing on me. To me, it looks clean. It looks visual. It looks stylized. I like it. I like it a lot. I just want to throw that out there. So very excited for this. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, please consider leaving a like. It helps out tremendously. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon with more Civ 6.